Welcome back to Say No To Lashon Hara, Day 7. This project has been sponsored until the end of June anonymously and is in the zechut of Chana Bat Semafega's complete Refuah Shlema. The Chafetz Chaim opens by saying something incredible. If someone was to take a look at the history of Lashon Hara, you would notice something incredible start to emerge. Lashon Hara seems to have its fingerprints on so many of our world's life-changing events. The very first sin that we read about in the Torah, how does it happen? The snake comes to Chava and tells her, listen, I know that you were told not to eat from the tree, but the only reason why Hashem told you not to eat from the tree of knowledge is because he knows that if you eat from that tree, you will become gods like him. And he doesn't want you to have that. The snake, by representing God as a being that was afraid of Adam and Chava matching him, that therefore he tried to control them, was this combination of various elements of Lashon Hara, misrepresenting what God's intentions were, and then talking badly about the fact that he was jealous of them. And unfortunately, a lot of times, this idea is something which we find in the day-to-day. Yeah, your wife, your husband, your boss, they don't have your best interests at heart. If they were looking out for you, they would not have acted that way, and so on and so forth. What was the result of that Lashon Hara and Rechilut? That first sin. We know that death came to the world. The very first day that the world exists, on day one, Lashon Hara rears its ugly head, retracts its fangs, and bites in a way where death is unleashed on earth. The first sin, and it brings death to humanity forever. The Chafetz Chaim said, if a person speaks Lashon Hara, he's literally attaching himself to a practice that destroys the entire world. That's not a euphemism, and that's not an exaggeration. It's literally the very first sin that happened in the Torah. The very first time the Jewish people went into Galut also was directly related to Lashon Hara. The Chafetz Chaim explains that the main reason why we suffered in Egypt was Lashon Hara. Think about it. Yosef spoke Lashon Hara about his brothers to his father, and therefore, min hashamayim, they decreed that he would be sold into slavery. That started a chain of events that brought us down to Mitzrayim. We already saw previously in the Chafetz Chaim that the reason why the Jewish people were not redeemed from Egypt was because Achen Noda Hadavar. Moshe said, now I understand why they're still here, still being punished, because they're speaking Lashon Hara. They finally get out of Egypt. And what tanks them right as they're about to get into Eretz Israel? The sin of the spies. In that moment when the spies speak Lashon Hara about Eretz Israel, we are, number one, not allowed to go in. We need to wander the desert for another 38 years. But number two, our rabbis explained to us that that creates a chasm, a break between us and Eretz Israel, allowing for the possibility of Am Yisrael and Eretz Israel not being synonymous and always together. So the continuation of our Galut, even to this day, is harkens back to that night when they came back with that report. The Gemara explains that their sin was Lashon Hara about Eretz Israel. But look back at the history. Imagine there was an enemy that tortured your family everywhere you went, knocked out your grandfather, caused your great-great-great-great-grandmother to be killed in an accident, did something terrible which cost your family its home. You'd probably stay away from that person. But that is Lashon Hara, and we're starting to see the incredible role that it plays in the evolution of history. Wherever Lashon Hara is, damage follows. Is that something you want to be a part of? That's a great question to ask yourself.